basically me and Alasdair are going to mess with you a little bit. And you're going to be like, oh my god, I hate these guys so much. We're going to have a competition during the course of today where we're going to try and get as many fruit names into conversation as possible without you realising. So now you're listening to this and you're like, oh my god, how many times did they say? And you'll listen back to the podcast and you'll be all like, oh, that's why they were being so weird. So yeah, I'm going to get a scorecard.
Oh, I was going to say Jack can score at the end of it. He can go through it and just write number 3.
Yeah, I suppose go on then.
Actually, we'll do it as well, because it makes sense.
But yes, you might want to send this out to the listeners as well. Just, keep everyone informed, because yes, we got you good.
The guys you're about to listen to are not experts, and any advice should never be followed. They also have no idea what they're doing, but really, who does? So please, sit back, relax, and listen to these 3 complete morons talk about the weird and wonderful world of the internet. Hello and welcome to The Last Resort, a podcast for the totally desperate and the weird questions you find on the internet, I guess. I still need to think of something properly to say at the beginning of these things.
I think you do.
I'm Jack.
I'm Alasdair.
And I'm Christopher.
And we have to own up to something, don't we?
We do. We've all been like a right pair of idiots, so...
A pair of idiots normally means 2, but in this case, it means 3.
Well, okay, yeah, so...
So I guess that means that statement's even more true. Us 3 are a pair of idiots.
Yep.
And...
I mean, one might say we've been a group of lemons.
We've been...
What?
We've been a group of lemons.
Wow. Yeah.
And this episode is going to be on iTunes way late than it should be because we've run out of storage space on our hosting site. So if you're listening to this, well done. You've managed to find it, or you've waited a long time, because we're going to be uploading this one onto SoundCloud on time, and then putting on iTunes when the time allows us to, I guess.
Yeah, and if anybody's really loving this and wants to donate $95 to us so we can get more storage space, then, that would be fantastic. But
what's $95 in pounds? It's like
it's about 40,
£55.
Yeah, I would say
like
probably about 50. So
maybe it's time to call your dad, Chris.
Hello, Peter.
Daddy.
Daddy.
So that's the situation. It's not particularly funny, but we messed up.
It happened.
So deal with it.
Yep.
You have a choice, guys. The first question can be a Yahoo or a Reddit.
I think we'll go Reddit for the first one.
I think we should go Yahoo for the first one.
Oh my god. Right, okay.
No, it's Reddit. Let's go for Reddit. Reddit's fine.
You want to go for Reddit?
Yes.
Okay.
We have put our melons together and we've decided to go for the Reddit answer.
We've put our lemon-headed melons together, a group of lemons.
Yep.
And so, this question, as you've chosen, is from Reddit, and it is, what is the best we can't tell mum about this story?
We've been discussing
this
earlier, behind the scenes before recording, and I think I've got mine, which is kind of like a confession. If you're listening, I've got a confession.
Mine's a confession too.
Right, yeah, I think we just need to own up. This is owning up our...
This is literally just clearing our chests.
When I was about 10 years old, I went downstairs and I started to write a letter. And I thought I wasn't very tall, and still probably aren't tall. Yeah. Anyway, shush! Don't even mention
words.
it. Don't
words,
mention it. No.
Things, words.
Let him carry on with the story, Alasdair. God.
So yeah, I wasn't very tall, and the only surface that I could find was the radiator, and it was like a bright white radiator that we had in our living room. And so I used that as my surface and used this big, like proper big blue permanent marker ink thing. And I wrote on it Chris, like at the top of the letter, to remind myself that my name was Chris. And
or were you writing a letter to yourself, I guess?
I probably was, but I wrote Chris at the top. It was maybe practice from all the primary school essays, what have you.
Essays?
Yeah, at Penrilic, they worked as hard. So yeah, it kind of, I moved it slightly and the pen was everywhere, and it looked like a sort of, it was the same colour as a blueberry, and it was horrific. It was just everywhere. And it just seeped through onto the radiator, and I decided to get, like, my dad's an artist for a living, and I found one of his sculptures, and I pushed it over and hid it for ages. And I don't know if she knew it was me because it said Chris, and if she found it, then she would be like, oh, well, Chris. But, yeah, sorry, Mum. I kind of defaced the radiator. Sorry about
Now, I guess you just called this a confession.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure she knew it was you.
She probably did, but...
Mike said they did.
Well, I mean...
Mike's already come out and said, yeah, we guessed it was you, because who else would not write Chris on the radio?
Exactly, but it's still a confession. I'm still owning up to it now. So...
Does your conscience feel clear?
I feel like a weight...
Do you feel lighter?
Yeah. I feel like I've shed so many pounds of weight.
Fantastic.
I don't know.
Try this new diet from Chris. Dr. Chris's honesty diet.
All I eat is just a load of apples and some grapes, and that's my whole diet.
And always tell the truth.
Always tell the truth.
About 20 years later.
Yep. Oh, it's about 10 years, I'd say.
Okay. I guess you didn't do it when you were, like, a newborn. That would be sick.
I just sat on the radiator and went...
Right.
Sorry. I think I haven't had a lot of sleep. Yeah. Anyway.
So what's Alasdair's? We can't tell Mum this.
It's. I guess Mum wouldn't be so upset, but she probably would. Yeah, because she had to fix it, which is a problem. Basically, when we were having our extension built, and you could get, like, they built the extension first and then they knocked through into the house. And so there was, like, a wall between where you could stand on one side where the extension is and then into the house. I mean, my brother thought it'd be a great idea to hear if the other person you could hear the other person knocking through the wall. That sounds really stupid now because, of course, you would have been able to hear the other person knocking because the wall wasn't exactly that thick. And, like, my brother was there first and he was like, okay, you stand on that side and I'll bang on it so I can see if you can hear me on, like, the other side. And so he was banging away, and then, like, we met, like, halfway again, and we were like, yeah, I could hear you. Oh my God, I could hear you. And he's like, okay, now it's your turn. So, of course, I was like, went onto the other side. I started banging the wall, and, like, my fist went straight through the plasterboard. And I kind of was like, I went, shit, okay, what do I do now? And I met James halfway. I was like, James, do you know when you were hitting the wall? Well, you obviously made a massive dent in it. It looks like you've gone through the wall, like, and, like, you literally put his fist through the wall. And he really believed me.
Does James know this?
No, I don't think so. So this is don't tell James and don't tell me.
Don't tell him that we've got a podcast.
Welcome to our new podcast, Don't Tell Our Brothers.
Basically. Anyway, and, like, to this day, I don't think he knows that I was the one who actually did it. But, like, as soon as Mum and Dad came back from, like, I don't know, they were obviously taking the dogs for a walk or something like that. And he went up to Mum, like, really upset and was like, Mum, I was really angry whilst you were out and I punched the wall and I punched straight through it. So there's a massive hole in the wall at the moment. So anyway, yeah, that had to be fixed.
Oh, you are, like,
I mean,
Satan.
it was a good, like, grapefruit-sized hole in the wall. It was just, it was pretty big.
If it was me...
And I'm surprised I didn't notice that I'd done it or something like that. He'd just be obviously like, I didn't do it.
Well, if it was me, I would have just like assumed I had super strength that I just punched through a wall because I wouldn't have understood that it was just like plasterboard.
Should have been proud of it. Proud of it.
I would have gone, Mum, look
Look at this.
I'm a superhero. All right, look what I've done.
With great power comes great responsibility. I'm going to save the world now.
Do you want to hear my story?
Yes, please.
Chris already knows this story. I don't know if you do, Alasdair.
I don't think so.
Well,
I don't know yet. Which story is it?
I will tell you. It's a drunk shenanigan story.
Is this about the boat?
Is this about the broken ankle?
I knew. As soon as you said drunk shenanigans, I was like, boat story. Cool.
I don't know it.
Right.
Quiet, guys.
Everybody, get a cup of tea, sit down, relax, enjoy.
It's... Right, okay. So, this was about 3.5 years ago, somewhere around there. At the time, I was living back up north in Cumbria. And being in the Lake District, there are a lot of rivers and lakes. So, one night, our mutual good friend John, who we told to fuck off last week, invited me out for some beers. So I thought, yeah, let's go have some beers. So, I left the house and walked into town, which involves crossing a river. And crossing the river on the bridge, I saw what looked like the shittest little dinghy boat I've ever seen. It obviously just been like abandoned on the river, and it had like one oar and like what used to be an awning that just like completely disintegrated. And I just thought to myself, what a shit boat. So anyway, I thought, forget it. I'm going to be late, so onwards I go. So I met John, we had some beers, and he told me that earlier that day, he and some other friends had found a boat on the lake that had been abandoned, and he sailed it up to my little village. And then I realised quickly that the boat that he'd left was the shit boat that I'd found. And I told him that was the shittest boat I've ever seen. So at this point, another friend had joined us, Matthew, and after a few beers and discussing the boat and our boating experience, which was about nil, we decided that it was probably the best idea just to go and sail it right then and there and have a look at it. So, pretty drunk, we went to Matthew's house to get some more beers for our walk to the dock, as we like to call it at the point. And so we loaded up on beers and set off for what normally takes about 20 minutes to walk from the town we were in to the village where the boat was located. That walk took us about an hour and a half, maybe. Because we were just too drunk. We were just like stumbling around a field, trying to find this boat. So at about 1 o'clock in the morning, we found the boat. Pissed out of their minds, probably waking up everyone in the village. And we like rolled up all our trousers and stuff and pushed the boat out. And then I don't remember much of the evening at this point, but I do remember going, whoa, guys, let's not do anything silly.
Let's take a minute.
Give me all your wallets and phones. And I will take them home so we don't at least lose them into the river. And they all thought this was an excellent plan. And gave them all their valuables. So off I trotted back off home. And I dumped them all in my room. Then I got changed into like beachwear. I was wearing like these red flowery board shorts and like a vest. And it was like an autumn's night. It wasn't warm by any stretch of the imagination. And then I was about to leave to head back to the boat when I thought, you know what else I could bring to this? A new bottle of Jack Daniels. Which I did. So I arrive at the boat and then I go, guys, look what I've got. And out of my rucksack I pull the bottle of JD. And I henceforth was known as Captain Jack for the evening. So anyway, we push off. We all get into the boat and we push off. And we realise we have one oar. So we're like using our arms to push ourselves along the boat. And we probably weren't going much faster than 1 mile an hour. But in our heads, we were like steaming towards the opposite bank at about 1 million miles an hour. And we were like, shit, we've got to get out of the way. We're going to crash. So we're like rolling around this boat drunk, trying to not crash into the other side of the boat. And then every two other seconds, we're like, who's got the JD? He hasn't fallen over. Who's got it? And then we'd take it, have a swig, and then pass it on. And anyway, so we narrowly avoided the bank. And then we realised that the way the river was flowing passes under a road, and the pipe that goes under the road was only about 1 metre in height. So no way were we going to fit under this road. So at that point, we were desperately trying to evacuate the boat. Trying to scramble. One of us fell in and then couldn't reach the bottom. So because we were so drunk, we had no idea what we were doing. And then I don't really remember how, but we found ourselves on the opposite side of the river with no idea how to get back to the village. So we just sat in this field drinking the rest of the whiskey until the sun came up. And that's about the story, really. It's one of my favourite things that I've done drunk, and it doesn't tell that well as a story, but when we were there, we were so scared of drowning, it was ridiculous. But we did it anyway.
See, it's this kind of story that makes me miss John, so if John is listening...
Get in touch, please.
I miss you, buddy.
Call us on.
John, if you're listening, you still haven't written that review. But also, I think you should post somewhere on our Twitter, on our Facebook, your perspective of that story and how it went.
Yeah.
But that was that.
I think Jack wins the story. I think that was much better than
Yeah.
both of us.
And nobody,
That's
the
a round
people I
of
lived
applause.
with... Yeah, thank you. I'm taking bows, you can't see.
Oh.
I have no idea what the people I lived with at the time were thinking I was doing. Because I thought I was pretty stealthy, but looking back...
You should ask them for their... what
I
they think of
definitely
the story.
wasn't.
Oh, dear. So, my question this week is, which fictional character would be the most terrifying to meet in a dark alley? And then I thought about this because it sounds like a simple question. It sounds like the kind of question that you go, oh yeah, well there's loads of answers for this. But that's the point, is that there are loads of answers for this. So I'm only going to allow each of you one answer. You can only answer with one fictional character.
And I had the perfect answer.
Okay.
Okay, so let me set the scene. You're in a city. It's dark. It's raining. It's cold.
I'm scared.
Yeah, you should be.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get home. It's like some kind of film noir kind of vibe.
Okay.
And you go down this alleyway, and you see a shadow of a figure, and the terror starts to come over you, starts to overwhelm you. You know, you start sweating.
Oh God. No.
You turn the corner. Who do you see?
Who do I
Mr
see?
Blobby. Blobby.
Yeah,
terrified
okay.
me as a child.
I'd probably agree with that.
Whoa.
As a kid, I loved him, but looking at him as
No,
an adult
those
now...
googly
it's-
eyes.
I
just
never
like-
loved him.
He just turns his head, and his googly eyes don't quite stop, and they just wiggle a bit and look at you, and his smile just stuff.
He gives me the chills.
Did you ever watch the Big Fat Quiz of the Year where
Blobby.
he appeared on at the end and Jack Whitehall's terrified of him?
I'm
And he was
terrified
chasing him
of
around the room.
I am also terrified of him. It's a
Blobby,
petrifying
Blobby,
creature.
Blobby.
I can't believe that actually made it onto children's TV.
It's pretty horrendous, really. Who ever thought of that? What did you have to be on to think of that?
If we've got any foreign listeners who are like, who the hell is Mr. Blobby? Just Google image search it. It's Blobby. It's terrifying.
He was basically, if you don't know who he was, let me describe him. Think of in the hit film Ghostbusters, the big mushroom, not the mushroom,
Marshmallow Man.
Marshmallow, sorry, the big marshmallow guy. Make him the size of a normal man, then make him just bright pink and covered in loads of different coloured spots with huge googly eyes. And all he could say was, Blobby.
I don't know if you remember what used to really creep me out when I was little. Do you ever watch the Moomins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know in the woods there were those things that glowed and turned everything to frost?
No.
Do you remember those? No.
I think that...
Chris looks like he almost kind of remembers.
I feel like
it's
I
called,
should
it's
say
called
yes.
like there's something like, it's like the Harry Langler or something like that, but
Describe
it's not quite.
it for us.
I can't, it's like, it glows and it's kind of all shimmery. I can't quite remember, but I remember it really freaking me out as a kid. Anyway.
This is all,
the moral of this story is
like...
I'd hate to meet that in a dark alley on a night out.
That's your answer.
No, it's not. My answer would probably have been... Did you say superhero?
No, fictional character.
Fictional character.
Mr. Blobby
I
is
don't know.
real, but is also fictional, I
You're
guess.
just cherry picking.
Dracula, Frankenstein. Well, Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein.
But all of these, they're not particularly creepy. I mean, like they're fairly scary in the terms of horror as a genre. But I wouldn't say that they're the most terrifying. And plus, I said only one answer. So
Oh, okay.
Can I give a second answer? Because I have another answer that would be equally terrifying.
go on then.
No, you can't.
Okay, well at the end we'll have a think about it.
I've got my answer if you want to.
Yes, I do want to.
Right. Okay. I am a massive fan of a British TV show that was kind of the epitome of my childhood, and it was called Wallace and Gromit. And I loved that show with a passion. It was like all animation. And there was one episode where basically they get this new tenant in the house, and it's a penguin, right?
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, it's the wrong
And this was
trousers.
The wrong trousers.
The wrong trousers.
Right,
Well,
okay.
Chris.
The penguin, he's got like a little red glove on his head.
He pretends to be a chicken, yeah.
Yeah, because he wants to be a chicken.
Pretends to be a chicken.
And he's a diamond thief. But the creepiest part is that he doesn't say anything, and he's got no mouth, so he has no expression. He just has this blank stare, and I used to get so creeped out by this penguin. And I love penguins. Penguins are my favourite animal, so... Weird.
I guess that's pretty scary.
He was terrifying, and yeah, so I basically what I'm saying is there's a scene in Wallace and Gromit in the wrong trousers where Gromit is, I think he's in his room, and he just looks across, and the penguin sort of walks past the hallway, stops, and just stares at Gromit, and that sticks in my head very vividly.
I remember, actually.
Yeah,
I do remember.
so if I was in a dark alleyway, and I turned around, and the penguin was there, I think I would run.
I have my answer, and it wasn't any of the ones I said.
Okay. Go
But
for it.
it's an incredibly traumatic time in my childhood. It was the first time I ever watched the Sleepy Hollow. So
This is your childhood.
this is my childhood. I was
Sleepy
like
Hollow,
6,
as
and my
in,
dad
like-
sat me down and made me watch Sleepy Hollow, and the Headless Horseman, you know. And like when I went to bed that night, and I was like trying to sleep, lying in bed, literally just like duvet up to my mouth, just like come on, sleep. I must be able to sleep
Up
before
to your mouth.
after this horrific film to make a 6-year-old watch. Then my dad came up to bed, and along the wall, because my bedroom, like the bedroom wall was the stair where the stairs came up. Along the wall, my dad started knocking like horse hooves. So all I heard of as he was coming up to bed
Your
was
dad
like,
just had some horse hooves.
no, he was banging on the wall, you know, as you go like.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and so of course, me not really realising that it's my dad trying to mess with me, I had a little bit of a cry and I went to sleep.
I
Well,
think
it worked.
So I'd hate to meet the Headless Horseman.
if any
in an
authorities are
alleyway.
listening, then please don't contact any kind of social services because you're all grown up now. You're
I mean,
too
I've
late.
watched it since and he's not scary at all.
That
You
is
still
so
cry, though.
cruel. Poor Tim.
I know.
Poor Tim. No, poor Alasdair. Bad Tim.
Sometimes I wake up screaming.
I think that was quite a telling...
That was dark, man. We
Yeah.
were like children's cartoons, things of childhood. You're like, no, I had this proper headless guy. Somebody decapitated. Dark.
I think it's a good answer.
Yeah.
Can I give you what my other answer was going to be?
Yes.
So same situation as before. You know, it's scary, cold, wet.
No.
You see the shadowy figure.
Why do I?
You turn the corner. It's Clifford the Big Red Dog.
That's too cuddly. I would.
Clifford is great. He's
Oh,
not scary.
Clifford.
How tall was he?
Like
Big.
huge.
10
stories?
15 million feet? Sorry.
But what's he gonna do? Like lick you to
Yeah,
death?
exactly. I love you.
I think you'll find Clifford didn't speak. So,
Yeah, but if a dog could
This is
speak,
what he sounded
all
like in
dogs
my
would
mind.
literally just say that.
Yeah. Dogs are lovable.
Yeah.
Woof. Right. Next question.
It's on to me.
I've got one. Oh, yeah, this is yours.
Mr. Interrupty over there.
Oh my God, Jack.
Jack.
Gosh, what is with you and your interrupting?
Jack's got some sour grapes in his mouth there. He's,
Sour grapes.
what is the saying? Is it sour grapes or is it sour apples? If somebody's feeling
Well,
like they're not having it their own way.
Sour grapes.
It
But
is sour grapes, isn't it?
You don't normally go, you sir, have sour grapes in your
You
mouth.
have some sour grapes.
Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
go.
My question is, what's popular now that will feel like an embarrassing fad in a few years' time? So I'm thinking things like, selfies,
I
pouty
don't think
faces,
selfies are
and things
ever
like
gonna go
that.
out of fashion.
Chris loves his selfies.
Well, I don't take selfies.
Yeah, you do.
But no, okay, fine.
For selfies of
The
Chris,
occasional
please
selfie.
visit his Instagram page at CP Nelson.
I only have a few selfies.
But first, let me take a selfie.
I can only hope Justin Bieber.
Well, he's already retired and he's in prison, isn't he? So
That is
well,
a very
hopefully-
inaccurate description of Justin Bieber's career there.
Hopefully he just
he's passed. Nobody likes
dies.
him.
I don't want him to die, but I would like him to stop making music and being on the
He's
news.
not so bad himself. It's believers who make him bad.
I would agree. Well, no, actually, because Justin Bieber,
People need to stop encouraging him.
I don't like him as a person. But, right, this is my little controversial... Well, I say controversial. It's kind of controversial. From somebody who... Because my music taste is predominantly heavy metal. It's not even heavy metal. It's heavier than heavy metal. I think so. But yeah, I think the One Direction guys, they seem like all right lads. And they would be the kind of guys who, you could probably have a laugh with. But it's the fans that creep me out.
Now, I equally hate One Direction just because they're completely talentless fuckwads who managed to get a
Very rational.
who got
Jack's
who got this deal. Like, I remember watching the X Factor season, and at the beginning when they did the auditions, you wouldn't have looked twice at these guys. He was like, when I say he, I mean Harry Styles was just like this geeky, scrawny guy with really baggy jeans and a bad fitting polo shirt. You just, and since then they've built up this kind of empire-istic kind of thing, with a movie and all the concerts and whatever, similar to Justin Bieber. But without their hordes of songwriters like Ed Sheeran and other people, I'm sure, and PR guys and wardrobe and makeup, probably artists and all that kind of stuff, do you really think they would be making the music they are? Really?
Well, I find it very strange as a concept, because these are guys who, let's go back a year before X Factor, and loads of people would have passed them in the street. They could have just walked out the houses, and they're just like everybody else. Okay, let's take Alasdair, for example. Everybody looks at Alasdair, and they're like, wow, what a normal guy. What a sort of, this is just a man, albeit a good-looking man. He's staring at me kind of weirdly.
I was just wondering where he's going with this. If I'm going to be slightly more insulted than
I'm
I
just
already am.
listening.
I'll blow you a raspberry kiss. Sorry, that was really camp. Anyway, I don't even know what I was saying. Yes, Alasdair, he he could just be anybody. And then if he went on X Factor, and I don't know what your singing voice is like, Alasdair, but you might come out with
beautiful.
like, yes, I'm
Imagine
Michael
angels,
Jackson.
angels singing.
Okay, exactly. And then suddenly
Strawberries
everybody's
and cream
like,
for
this
the
guy
ears.
is my hero and idol and everything, worship him. But he's actually just the same guy that you ignored in the street like a few days ago.
I don't know.
People do
Anyway,
going
this
in
is
the street.
This is probably getting a bit serious. So let me hit you with this thing that I think will become horrendously kind of embarrassing.
Oh.
So
Are you going to have to cut this out?
am I going to have to cut what out?
What you're about to say?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it in Cumbria, Chris, but you definitely see it here in Manchester and other cities. And I don't know if it's just the UK either, but there seems to be a huge fad of wearing like 80s, 90s style clothing in like a kind of ironic but not ironic way.
Double denim.
Like, well, not so much double denim, but stuff like shell suits and really brightly coloured trainers and weird accessories and trousers which are about 4 inches too short on purpose.
It's the deep house scene, man. It's the house music.
Dungarees. It's like a load of people from the 90s who've like just appeared within the last kind of half a year, and all I can imagine is our generation's children looking at holograms of us in 30 years' time, going like, "What the fuck happened to these people?"
Yeah, I always feel like I can't come to Manchester now because whenever I do go, my fashion sense is awful. And I would turn up...
your fashion sense is normal.
Okay, awful, normal.
I think this is
same
the
thing.
point I'm making.
But
The whole point of Manchester,
I
though,
turn
is
up in
everything, anything
Manchester,
goes in Manchester. Like,
And yeah, it was crazy last time. I felt so out of place. Like, I felt like everyone was looking at me thinking, what a country bumpkin. So...
What a country bumpkin. Well, that was your fault for turning up in like dungarees and a bit of straw coming out you.
No, see, that's the ironic thing. That's what Manchester people look like. They go for the ironic country bumpkin. I'm just actually a country bumpkin.
the irony is, these clothes are from like, cheap shops, literally, and the people buying them are usually pretty damn rich.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's the irony. They're dressing like poor people, and they're actually really rich.
I don't know. It's just a really weird thing, I think.
I think other fads that might go out of fashion in time, that people will look back and think, oh, there's just so much to choose from. All of these things at the moment, like, what the hell's planking? We were talking about this earlier
Planking's
as well.
kind of going, though.
Planking's so old now.
It's,
God.
all of these
people
things
hanging
are-
from buildings now. People do stuff.
all of these are just
Memes
fads
in general will probably disappear, I guess.
within time.
I think selfies will disappear.
I don't.
You think people are so...
I make a wager on this because I assume, as you're one of my best friends, that I'll know you for life now, Alasdair.
Because
So-
we're like strawberries and cream. We just go together.
Aww.
One of these really liquid
Champagne and grapes.
Can I be the strawberries?
champagne and grapes.
They go together. No, it's strawberries and champagne, isn't it?
I don't even know about that, man.
Champagne and strawberries does go.
grapes.
Champagne and grapes don't.
Also,
Well, as far as I know, I'm gonna have to give it a try now.
let's have a Sauvignon Blanc and a rhubarb, shall we? Why not?
Grapefruit juice.
Bloody
and
hell. Right, anyway, 40 years time, okay? We're going to look back and everyone's going to be selfieing. I think it's going to get worse, in my opinion.
With
it's going to
Google
become
Glass.
like hologram selfies.
striking a pose.
Strike a pose, Vogue.
There's a new phone out. It's an Android phone. I don't know which manufacturer it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard that they're calling the front-facing camera the selfie cam.
That's
Pretty sure that's a thing. So
It's basically all it's
Bill.
used for.
Yeah, it is.
I don't.
All right,
I
fair
don't take
point.
pictures of anything but
There
myself
is-
with my
there,
front
Yeah, there
camera.
is no other use to the front camera. But if you can think of another use for your front camera,
Apart from
then
checking,
please
checking
message
your
us
makeup or something
at
like that.
FaceTime and stuff like that, I guess.
But
Skype.
That's
is
technically
that's
selfie, isn't it? It's selfie
yeah,
video.
'cause you're-
Well, no, because that's silly. That's like saying whenever you talk to someone, they're just looking at a selfie of you. No, it's communication.
Well, they are.
Okay.
It's communication selfie.
Google Glass is going to be the big thing next.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I hope it is because
Can you
know
make
how
phone
you
calls
can
and
just,
stuff on that?
I think you can like Bluetooth it to your phone. Maybe. I'm not sure, but you know how you can just tell it to take a picture of what you're looking at,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like voice activated. If they don't find a way how to kind of make it personal, like only link it to your commands, I'm just gonna loiter around public toilets and just say the command to take a picture whenever guys are taking a piss. Yeah, take a picture.
You literally just go into-
send to all.
Walk into a room, just be like, picture!
You would
Yeah.
be arrested. Surely.
It's like that with the
I
new...
don't think that's illegal.
Sorry, I think I zoned out. I'll be honest with you, Jack. I was playing with a bit of plastic that I found, and I heard take a photo in a bathroom, and that's pretty much all I got from the conversation. Was I not listening? Did I get that wrong?
It takes dick pics to a whole new level.
Yeah, what happens if you're accidentally... Yeah, this is a major question, actually.
Speaking of dick pics, do you think do you think Snapchat's gonna
Yeah,
Go away?
definitely. Yeah, I would say so.
I'd say it's already started, though. Not many people really
Maybe.
send them anymore.
I
Well,
disagree.
I have some friends that only use Snapchat to communicate
Yeah,
with
yeah.
you, and if you're not concentrating for those 10 seconds, like, fuck it, you have no idea what
You
they
don't
were
know
trying
what's
to
happening
say.
for the next week, the plans you've just made with that person.
Yeah, exactly.
I recently had a whole Snapchat conversation that went on over several hours, just sending back and forth. It was actually selfies with one of my best friends, Hannah, and it was about at 3:00 in the morning or something. And so it's useful for that because obviously you're just tired and you're like, well, I want to chat to my friend, but sometimes
I don't know.
it's better to.
I think it's easier to send it in WhatsApp.
It's interesting because
It was
the
funny.
only reason Snapchat's worth so much money is because nobody's figured out how to kind of get around the whole secure sending thing. So it deletes as soon as you've seen it and doesn't save and all that kind of stuff. But the second someone works out how to get around that, then it's all their worth just goes away.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Snapchat, I hope you know what you're doing because there are some photos I do not want to see ever again.
Oh.
Not of me. Ones I've received.
Hey, Jack.
Ones I've received from drunk people.
Sure.
The first Snapchat I ever
Jack, you weren't supposed to tell anyone about that photo.
I got when I lived with other people last year, we all got Snapchat at the same time while we were pre-drinking to go out to a club. And the first one I ever received was of one of my housemates who thought it'd be funny to go into the bathroom and do he did like the mangina thing and just sent it to everyone for like a second so it only flashed up. Oh god. I still have nightmares.
I'm not surprised. Jeez. Although, like, not to keep dragging our friend John into this, we've seen some pretty weird photos of him.
He's seen some pretty weird photos of me as well.
You guys have had, I'm pretty sure, right, and I'm just going to drop you in this, Jack. I'm pretty sure you two have sent each other photos of you both completely naked but covered by like a small object. Not a small object, hey, wait. But like
Oh,
a
we're
hat
talking tiny, we're
or
talking
like,
illegal.
I'm pretty sure John's got one of a teddy bear or something. I seem to remember this was a thing in our
It was
group
a
conversation.
frisbee.
Frisbee. And then did
In
you send
the-
one back, Jack? You've got to confess now.
Things you don't want your...
Yeah, I did send one back.
Yep.
And
Does Lily know about this?
It was a teapot I had
Oh my god.
covering my zone. It was I sent that to him. I don't know what happened to that photo.
John, if you've got it, then just send us it
Delete
on Twitter.
Just
post it
destroy your phone.
The last resort. Does Lily know about these things, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
We can only hope not.
Well, does she listen to this?
Has she still with him?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't listen. No.
She doesn't listen. That doesn't surprise me at all.
She actually thinks that this is the worst idea ever.
Amazing.
Worse than champagne and grapes.
Worse than champagne and grapes.
Champagne and grapes.
Oh dear.
I have a question.
Yeah.
From Yahoo Answers. This was asked by Yahoo Answers user Happy, who asks...
'Cause I'm
Happy.
Thank you. Why are most people's parents so dorky? So, throughout the years, I meet people's parents. I must say that 99% of them are very dorky. Where did these people grow up? What did they grow up around? They just look so out of place in my situations and events. For example, when I get invited to weddings, I see a beautiful girl getting married, and then see her parents, and I go, what in the world? She come from those two? It just doesn't match up. Even with friends, when I met their parents, they are very, very dorky. You look at them and you say, how in the world did this guy end up with such dorky parents? Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That I can just answer this quickly and say the person seems like a total idiot. Like, wow.
I like how he says he must say that 99% of them are very dorky. So that means he's met like 100 parents, I guess. Or 100 sets of parents. And gone like, dorky, 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 dorky. You're alright. You're not so dorky.
I'm just saying that. I know quite a lot of parents that just aren't dorky, really.
But this is the thing. I think.
So I think it's. I mean,
as I'm growing older now, there was times in my life when I was younger where I was like, "Oh man, that's so uncool that you won't let me eat this candy bar just before candy bar." I sound so American. This
Candy.
like
No.
chocolate bar before breakfast or dinner or something, and then now I'm older. I feel like.
Now,
Well, I can actually
did
hear...
I just hear your mum?
Yeah, I was about to say, this is perfect timing, because my mum's just arrived at my house. So, cool, sweet. But yeah, I feel like now I'm a bit older. I feel more mature as a person. And I'm like, yeah, no, wait, if I ever have kids one day, I'm going to be so exactly the same, I think. I'd be very similar.
I don't think it's that he's getting at. I think it's like...
No, but I think that just comes with parenthood, is that you can't... If you're a cool parent, I mean, what are you meant to do? Be like, yeah, dude, you can eat chocolate before breakfast.
No, I think it's this. The dorkiness is like the... Oh, hey, Johnny, how do I Twitter you? Oh, I'm going to poke you on Facebook.
Oh, well, that's just...
Like... What's a Pinterest?
that's just an age-related issue.
I don't know, because I think that some people are clued up on this.
I
I
suppose
think it's a
like,
parent thing, because it's... You can be like 30 years old with Facebook, or you can be the 30-year-old dad who Facebooks their kid. Now, that's dorky, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess when you're a parent... Your game's up. You don't need to... You've played the game, and it's now your kid's turn to play the game. And I guess that's the answer.
Well, again, I think I disagree with this, because I would say that Debs is probably cooler than me in a lot of ways. She's addicted... Alasdair's nodding. She's addicted to this game called Words with Friends. And I mean, we're all a bit Scrabble nuts.
Yeah,
in
but
my
that's
family,
dorky.
But it's
You're playing
cool
Scrabble
dorky.
on your phone. It's like double dorky.
It's cool.
Yeah, you're like the opposite, Chris. I go and meet your mum, and I'm like, what in the world did
How
he
the hell
come from
did he
her?
come?
Don't you drop me in this, Alasdair. We play chess together online.
I beat him pretty much all
No,
the
you
time.
don't.
I'd
You
like
do
to point
not.
out.
You do not. I won the last game, and you refused to play me since because I won.
No, just because I can't be arsed beating you again.
The worst excuse
Wow.
ever.
Okay, I'll play you right now.
Okay, right. Let's go.
I guess that kind of wraps up the discussion for this week.
We've had fun today. It's been fairly... I like the fact that we've had some serious topics in there, just to be like, yeah, we can do comedy, but also there are some issues in here.
We're also sensible.
Yes.
We're a sensible pair of lemons, or whatever we discovered.
Pair of melons? Lemons?
Oh, a pair of melons. Some
here we go.
gigantic grapefruits.
That just
Anyway, so if you've managed to get to the end of this, well done. You found us on wherever we are.
For those Kiwi listeners of ours, it's a good day. No, that's Australia.
Yeah, and thanks for listening. Okay, thank you for listening to The Last Resort. If you like what you heard, you can find us on the iTunes Store for free, and you can find us on Twitter and Facebook by searching Last Resort Cast. Our music was made by our very own Christopher Nelson. Thank you for letting us use it, Chris. And as always, thank you for listening. Well, thank you guys for your hilarious fruit prank that you were playing throughout that episode. I've got to hand it to you. I really didn't notice the fruit too much. But after editing the episode and listening back, the scores are: Chris scored 2 points, but Alasdair stormed ahead with 9 points. I'm pretty sure I got them all, and no, I am not counting repeat fruits as a point. So, Chris, you really need to try harder. Alright, bye.